All right, everybody. How's it going? How's everybody doing? Happy, what is it tonight? Thursday? It's Thursday, right? Man, I got to get my wife. My wife is the one who's always my calendar. I have no idea. All the days look the same sometimes. It's just a blur. It's like when you work transportation, there's no Sundays, man. It's like you're always out on the road, eh? And it's just, it's a blur, especially when it's minus 40. Like, holy cow, those of you out there those of you out here in Alberta, like, god damn, it's cold. It's like it's cold. It's like plug your vehicle all day cold. It's like minus 40 Celsius. For those of you guys who are south of the border, it's the same as minus 40 down there. That's when the two weather scales match, is at minus 40. Miserable, brutal, minus 40 degrees. And that is what we're experiencing in Alberta. So if you see an Albertan, shake their hand, tip your hat to them. It's a nightmare out here, man. It's tough. Let me see. Is Danielle Smith on? We're waiting on the premiere. She's always late for these lives. I'm on YouTube and I'm on her Twitter too, and I'm on the live thing. I don't see it here. I'm gonna go to her live here too. Refresh the website. How's everybody doing tonight? How are all of you guys? You guys doing good? Hope you're all staying safe out there. Hope you're all staying out of accidents. There are so many collisions on the roads. I was on Highway 16, what we call the Yellowhead, about 200 clicks east of Edmonton, and man, what a mess. There are like two semis on the ditch. It's around Vermilion area. It's just bad. It's just bad. It's like people forget how to drive when they get a little bit of snow. Hey, Lori, how you doing? Say hi to Sean. December Jam, how you doing, man? Who's everybody here? Nilik Tay, shout out to you, my man. Phoebe Long, Phoebe. I watch Friends a lot. Phoebe's my favorite chick in the cast. I don't like Rachel. Not a fan of Rachel. Monica's kind of crazy. Where's everybody watching from? Steve Potts, shout out to you, man. Somebody 3 minus 22 in red deer. Yeah, but that's without the wind, my man. With the wind, you're probably looking at minus 30 at least. At least minus 30 with the wind. You know? Hey, Larry, how's it going? My man, Larry Johnson. You're in Florida, aren't you, Larry? Just enjoying the nice weather down there, man. I'm so envious. Gotta go to Florida next winter or somewhere warmer, maybe Arizona or something. I heard Arizonans can sign the petition, and we got Jason Kenney, the disgraced Premier of Alberta, freaking out because people can sign the petition down in Arizona. I think Karen Morgan is hosting. Let me take a look, guys. Let me see if it's got it live, because I don't want to be out of the loop. Is she live?
And started contributing income taxes the moment they arrived. That is the story of the vast majority of our amazing new Canadians who arrived here during that time and are now citizens. These Albertans were and are a huge strength to our economy and provincial culture. And then came Justin Trudeau's disastrous open border immigration policies, which have caused an unprecedented strain on our healthcare, education, and other social programs. In just the last 5 years of Trudeau's tenure, Alberta grew by almost 600,000 people to more than 5 million.
She's talking about immigration.
All while Ottawa throttled our most important job-creating industries and prioritized immigration away from economic migrants and instead focused on international students, temporary workers, and asylum seekers.
Deportations,
adding 600,000 people in 5 years is like adding half the
here.
City of Calgary or Edmonton in 5 years. Although sustainable immigration has always been an important part of our provincial growth model, throwing the doors wide open to anyone and everyone across the globe has flooded our classrooms, emergency rooms, and social support systems with far too many people, far too quickly. As just one example, our student population has skyrocketed by more than 80,000 students in just the last 4 years, and more than 140,000 students now having English as their additional language. Is it any wonder that our teachers and students are struggling so much with classroom complexity and crowding? To sum up our budget challenge, low oil prices combined with an out-of-control federal immigration policies are together driving unsustainable budget deficits, not just here, but across the country. That's the problem. So what's the solution? Today, I want to share with you a three-part strategy to address this budget challenge without resorting to deep and disruptive cuts to core social services. The long-term strategy was announced last year. Our government has already initiated an investment plan to build the Alberta Heritage Fund to more than $250 billion by 2050. We are already ahead of schedule by reinvesting rather than spending interest earned in the fund each year and investing the bulk of large surpluses in years with high oil prices like we saw in 2023. Our government has already doubled the Heritage Fund from roughly $16 billion in 2021 to almost $32 billion today. That's how quickly you can move the dial. We just have to stick with it.
Good honor.
If future Alberta governments continue with this strategy through to 2050, the annual interest earned on the Heritage Fund each year will ensure we can weather any short-term dip in oil and gas prices and non-renewable resource revenue. When we reach this goal, Alberta will be forever free from its over-reliance on oil and gas revenues. We need to stay the course. In addition to our long-term strategy, our government also has a medium-term strategy to double Alberta's oil and gas production and exports to more than 8 million barrels a day by 2035. Doing so will allow us to secure higher resource revenues for our budget, even when energy prices are lower like they are today. And when energy prices bump back up, our province will see large surpluses, which will help us to reach the $250 billion by 2050 Heritage Fund target that I just outlined. That is why our government will continue to work diligently on implementing the energy agreement signed with Ottawa to build 1.3 million barrels per day of additional pipeline capacity to the West Coast, while also working with our great Canadian pipeline companies to expand pipeline capacity headed south. We will also continue to work on our agreement signed with Ontario to send hundreds of thousands of barrels of Alberta crude to their refineries and explore opportunities to unlock deepwater port access for our energy resources in the Maritimes, Quebec, and the Hudson's Bay. Alberta will double our pipeline capacity over the next 10 years, and our oil producers will grow and fill that pipe. We will not permit Alberta's and Canada's most valuable resource deposit, worth almost $10 trillion, to remain in the ground to the detriment of millions of Canadians. That's not going to happen. Now, having a medium and long-term plan is very important. However, what are we going to do about our budget situation in the short term? After all, we can't just sit by waiting and hoping for world oil prices to recover, nor can we trust the federal government to manage our immigration system in the best interests of Albertans. So here's the short-term plan. First off, our government will not be implementing drastic cuts to social services. The approved wage increases for our doctors, nurses, and teachers will remain in place so we can continue to attract the skilled professionals needed to catch up with our growth. Albertans have learned from experience that during times of low oil prices, the key is to limit increases in spending and focus it on building the schools, health facilities, roads, and other infrastructure needed to build a strong and diversified economy with a world-class standard of living. So instead of drastic cuts in upcoming budgets, we will instead be cutting unnecessary bureaucracy, improving efficiencies in program delivery, and prioritizing needs before wants as much as possible. We will continue to limit overall government spending increases to below inflation and population growth, implement more income testing for social programs so they are more financially sustainable, and critically, we will address head-on the challenge of out-of-control immigration levels that are overwhelming our core social services. The changes we need to make to immigration are a significant departure from the status quo, and therefore I am seeking a referendum mandate from Albertans to implement them. On October 19th, 2026, we will hold a provincial referendum primarily focused on how Albertans want our government to deal with the issue of immigration, as well as steps we can take as a province to strengthen our constitutional and fiscal position within a united Canada. These were far and away the issues most strongly identified by Albertans during last year's Alberta Next panel, town halls, and online submissions. And in my view, it is time to act on them. The fact is, Alberta taxpayers can no longer be asked to continue to subsidize the entire country through equalization and federal transfers, permit the federal government to flood our borders with new arrivals, and then give free access to our most generous in the country social programs to anyone who moves here.
Damn right.
This is not only grossly unfair to Alberta taxpayers, but also financially crippling and undercuts the quality of our healthcare, education, and other social services. The October 19th referendum will therefore include the following questions. Number 1, do you support the government of Alberta taking increased control over immigration for the purpose of decreasing immigration to more sustainable levels, prioritizing economic migration, and ensuring Albertans have first priority to new employment opportunities? Number 2, do you support the government of Alberta introducing a law mandating only Canadian citizens, permanent residents, and individuals with an Alberta-approved immigration status will be eligible for provincially funded programs, such as health, education, and other social services? Number 3, assuming that all citizens and permanent residents continue to qualify for social support programs as they do now, do you support the government of Alberta introducing a law requiring all individuals with a non-permanent legal immigration status to be resident in Alberta for at least 12 months before qualifying for any provincially funded social support programs? Number 4, assuming that all citizens and permanent residents continue to qualify for public health care and education as they do now, do you support the government of Alberta charging a reasonable fee or premium to individuals with a non-permanent immigration status living in Alberta for their and their families' use of the healthcare and education systems? Number 5, do you support the government of Alberta introducing a law requiring individuals to provide proof of citizenship, such as a passport, birth certificate, or citizenship card, to be eligible to vote in a provincial election? To strengthen Alberta's constitutional and fiscal position within a united Canada, we will also be asking you the following questions on the referendum ballot. Do you support the government of Alberta proactively working with other willing provinces to amend the Canadian Constitution in the following ways? A, have provincial governments and not the federal government select the justices appointed to provincial King's Bench and appeals courts. B, abolish the unelected federal Senate. C, allow provinces to opt out of federal programs intruding on provincial jurisdictions such as health, education, and social services without losing any of the associated federal funding for use in their own provincial social programs. D, better protect provincial rights from federal interference by giving a province's laws dealing with provincial or shared constitutional areas of jurisdiction priority over federal laws when in conflict with one another. I look forward to the debate on these critically important ideas and to receive your decision on the questions outlined so that our government can get to work on implementing an immigration policy that puts the needs of Albertans first, as well as constitutional reforms needed to make Alberta stronger and more sovereign within a united Canada. In closing, I want you to know how confident I am in the judgment of Albertans on these and other delicate issues. Although there are some politicians and commentators that fear direct democracy, such as referendums, I do not. I trust the judgment of Albertans. I know that as a province, we will thoughtfully ponder, debate, and ultimately come to a wise decision on these questions that will benefit our families and our fellow Albertans for generations, just as we've always done. May our beautiful province forever remain strong and free. Thank you and good night.
All right, so that was the Premier's announcement. That was relatively quick, relatively brief. I don't even have any more material for you guys. That's it. I thought she was going to talk for like an hour or something, guys. No, I'm just kidding. I did have some things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Take advantage of the time that I have. And I also want to discuss what just happened. What do you guys make of this? Like, it looks like she's finally going after what's happening with immigration, like the ridiculousness of our immigration system. It has become completely unsustainable. Anyone who lives in Alberta, actually, here's a good one. The number one name, they were lying too. Is like, oh, the number one name, the number one baby name out here in Alberta. They were saying it was what was it, babe? Noah. So my wife is like, oh, look, baby name is Noah. I guess we're not all lost yet. Number 8 was Mohammed, right? But someone brought up the fact that Mohammed, like, there's different ways to spell that name, right? There's like Mohammed with 2 M's, there's with 1 M, there's with an A, there's with an E, there's with a U, there's with an O. There's a million ways to spell that name, right? And when you put all of those together, It just so happens that Mohammed is actually number one by far in Alberta. Let me just find the report for you guys here. And that is incredible. That is incredible, and not in a good way. Literally unbelievable. Like, in a province like Alberta, in a Western province with Western heritage, number one baby name now is Mohammed. We're not in Libya, not in Lebanon, we're not in Syria, we're not in Iraq, Iran. No. We're in Alberta, and the number one baby name is Mohammed. That is incredibly troubling. They're the ones having the majority of the babies. That's how a civilization ends and gets replaced. Yes, I said it, replaced. Call me a racist. YouTube's probably gonna, decide to do something dumb with this video, and it'll probably be gone after, I don't know, after an hour of being posted. But whatever, I'm gonna say it. That's how population gets replaced. And the problem is, majority of those people, they don't adapt. They don't respect the customs. They don't respect the local culture. Oftentimes, there are exceptions, and I'm always happy to see the exceptions when I do meet those exceptions. But generally speaking, man, they don't adapt. They're not trying to. They're not here to take part. All right, they're not here to take part. They're here to take over. And yeah, that's article by the Western Standard. New Alberta's top baby name, Mohammed, despite government report saying otherwise. This came out, 2 days ago? Alberta has announced its top baby names for 2025, and the results are consistent with the trending names for both boys and girls from a year earlier, with a few changes. One notable mention is Mohammed, topping the list for baby boy names, despite government claiming it's in 8th place. This is because Mohammed has many different spelling variations, including Mohammed. You guys can see them all right here. Can't make the image bigger than that. To just name a few, with all this counted, Mohammed is number one baby name in Alberta in 2025, totaling more than 270 babies with that name. It ain't even close. I was like, oh no, good. I guess we're not all lost. I guess, Western Canada is not all lost. No such luck. It's Mohammed. And in Ontario, it's much worse. See, it's not even close. It's not even a debate that the names out in Ontario are not Canadian, typical Canadian baby names. They're all Middle Eastern, Arabic, or Indian names. Do with that as you will. All right. Let's see. Get to some super chats here. Nova West Alberta with the super chat. Thank you. We need to do these things now, not wait till October to debate it. Why kick the bucket till then? We have to leave now. 100%, my friend. 100%. What are we doing? Like, why is she calling a referendum? Just start cracking down on immigration right now. Like, this is the thing that frustrates me about Premier Smith. I do cut her the slack. She is a politician. She needs time. These things do take time, but certain things is like, come on, ma'am. Come on, ma'am. Like, just get to it. Like, start working on these things right now. Like, she could take away the benefits right away. She's got a majority government. It is in her jurisdiction. Like, deportations is a trickier one, but there are ways to what's incentivize them to leave or disincentivize them from coming in, if you know what I mean. Like, take away the benefits. Make it that they need to spend at least 2 years here before working, paying taxes before they get any benefits. I bet you majority of them won't even come here anymore. Problem solved. That alone. Remove healthcare benefits, income benefits, housing benefits, all welfare benefits. Get them out of here. Give them 24 months paying taxes first. Get a job for 24 months if you truly want to live in Alberta. And when you do that, like I did as an immigrant myself, been paying taxes here for nearly 2 decades, then maybe then you can apply for benefits. but you got to pay into the system. You can't, a lot of these people just show up. They show up to Alberta and they just start taking, man. They just start taking. And it's not what your country can do for you, right? What can you do for your country? So, another super chat by Nova West. Thank you. Federal government are importing people given citizenship for people to join our military. That's not, oh, I'm going to talk about that. That's going to go so well. Yeah. Just when you think Canada has reached maximum levels of stupidity, incompetence, and just crazy desire to destroy itself, you get another day goes by and you realize that they're going to start importing foreigners to be in the Canadian military. Literally, they're going to hire foreigners to defend the country. Unbelievable. Like, you can't make this stuff up. Let me show you guys here. I got the report right here. I'm going to pull it up for you guys here. So this is the report right here you're referring to. This is the Minister of Immigration, this creature you have on the screen here. She made the announcement, I think yesterday, saying that the government of Canada is going to be hiring foreigners to serve in the Canadian military. Like, are there not enough young Canadians out of a job? And why is it that you think that young Canadians are not interested in applying to our military? Why do you think that is? Why is it that there's no pride in serving with the forces anymore? Why do you think that is? You think that's because we're doing so well as a country? Or is it because we've destroyed their dreams and there's no pride here? There's nothing to be proud of. Let's listen to what this lady had to say.
Today, we are introducing new categories designed to meet and support Canada's evolving needs and reflect our government's determination to attract the best talent to Canada. And finally, we are creating a new category for skilled military recruits to attract highly skilled foreign military applicants.
Unbelievable.
Eligible recruits with a job offer from the Canadian Armed Forces, including doctors, nurses, pilots, can be invited to apply for permanent residence. They will be subject to the same security and all military requirements. This new category will support our government's commitment to strengthen our armed forces, to defend our sovereignty, and to keep Canadians safe.
Yeah, sure. That'll keep Canadians safe. Bringing people that have no loyalty to this country, that haven't been here, they haven't lived here, they haven't paid into the system, they have no idea what Canadian culture is like, Canadian history. Yeah, let's bring those people in and make them soldiers. And I have a feeling we're gonna see a lot of Chinese applicants and a lot of Indian applicants. I have a feeling that that's what's coming up. That's what's coming up next. Whoa, big super chat from Sean. Thank you so much, Sean. Thank you so much. You're too generous, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. He says, let them sell their luxury vehicles that they all seem to have. We have to do what we can to survive, and so should they. Bullseye, man. 100%. 100%. You see these people, looks like they just got to this country. Like they're not adopted. They're not speaking the language, nothing. And they have like brand new BMWs or Escalades, like Cadillac vehicles. So you're like, how is it that you have this vehicle if you look like you just got here? And a lot of these people, they're like refugees, but they have like, it's so like, I try not to pay attention to those things sometimes. I try to ignore it, play the fool, because it infuriates me. Like when I came here way back, like you were given nothing other than the opportunity to work. You were given nothing other than here's an opportunity to make a life, to have a better future if you work hard. Like benefits weren't really a thing. Like during the Harper years, like you had to work. Stephen Harper wasn't perfect, but he was far better than Trudeau and this Carney clown that we have now. Like, you had to work. You had to, they only brought in people that has something to offer. Like, I had to speak English. Like, I took an English test. I had to have no criminal record, nothing whatsoever. Otherwise, I wouldn't come in. I had to make sure that that I had a certain level of education, and that I came in an occupation that was in high demand, like transportation, right? Like something that the country needed, right? And no such thing anymore. Like, they just don't. And these people come in and all they do is take before they even pay into the system. It's so frustrating. And it's frustrating for me. I can only imagine people like my wife that are born and raised, like, I don't know, 5th generation Albertan or something like that. It goes way back. I can only imagine how infuriating it is to see the pillaging of your land, like of your culture and of your societies. It's just rough, man. And it's tough to witness, really. These people are just destroying the country. Here's what Jeffrey Rath had to say in regards to Carney importing foreign soldiers to Canada to apparently be our new army now, to police Canada. Breaking: Alberta, Carney to import foreign soldiers to police us. It's time to vote Alberta out of Canada before Carney bases his new division of Chinese shock troops in Alberta. That's what I'm saying. You better believe there's going to be a lot of Chinese. I mean, Carney already telegraphed it. You guys heard about the whole New World Order, right? You heard that a couple of weeks back. You also heard that we're going to have some sort of strategic new partnership with Beijing, with the Chinese Communist Party. Maybe that's what they meant. They're going to start. I mean, Trudeau had training with CCP soldiers. At the time, I think Obama was in power and Obama wasn't going to do anything. I can only imagine what would happen if that happened under Trump. Like, you got CCP soldiers north of the 49th parallel just training up here. That's likely the direction that they're headed, is to hire Chinese soldiers, get them to get into Canada and gather intel. Oh, where is it? Okay, there we go. Here's the report right here from Zero Hedge. Literally, that's what they're doing now. They're gonna hire foreigners to be in our military, and that right there is our top general. That's our toughest soldier here in Canada. That old lady right there is our top soldier. Yeah. Other news, we got Fox News ripping Mark Carney a new one. Laura Ingraham just went off on him, how he's betraying Canada's closest ally by causing up to China and making moves like the one he just made, announcing that he's going to be hiring foreign soldiers to serve in the Canadian military that is part of the G7 and part of the Commonwealth. And this is what she had to say. I'll show you guys here. This is a better way to watch it. This is what she had to say.
Prime Minister Mark Carney thinks he scored some big victory now that China is allowing Canadian citizens to travel there visa-free.
Why would you want to travel there?
Christmas in China, a break in Beijing, a little R&R with the CCP. Oh, this is ludicrous. So Carney would rather make a big statement, turn his back on the United States, the country's largest trading partner, closest ally, to kowtow to the commies?
Canada was amongst the first to hear the wake-up call, leading us to fundamentally shift our strategic posture. And I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
Such a snake.
I love the way he said
Such a snake.
Ridiculous. Here to react, Gordon Chang, Gatestone Institute senior fellow. Gordon, first of all, on the trade issue, we have to set the record straight here. China sells us, the United States, 76% of its exports. Where do they think those exports are going to go now? China's going to buy all that, all the automobiles, the maple syrup, the timber. Really?
No, they're not. They never have, and they never will.
In hell is that going to happen? So what's going to happen to their exports?
Well, there
obviously going to have to go to the U.S. In 2024, which was the last year for which we have figures, Canada's merchandise trade surplus against the U.S. was $62.0 billion. Last year, it'll be probably around $45 billion. There's no way that Canada can redirect that to China or any other country. Canada and the U.S. are closely tied together, and that's a fact. There's nothing that Carney can do about it.
So what is he referring to when he says the New World Order? Is this a New World Order where the communist Chinese set up some type of formal relationship on Canadian soil? Because Trump's not going to put up with that.
Yeah, when he was at Davos, Carney talked about how the middle powers were going to exert power and band together. And I guess that's what he's talking about. He's talking about a world really without the U.S., where Canada is more oriented towards Beijing than Washington. But he's got to remember that the Chinese are actually pressuring Canada in the Arctic, and Canada can't defend its Arctic. It depends on the U.S. to do that. So, Carney can say all this stuff, but at the end of the day, he needs the United States. And by the way, we need Canada too. We're integrated, but Carney can't create this divorce that he's been talking about.
Well, it's just a laughing stock. But what is visa-free travel?
Who would want to go to China?
Tell our viewers what happens when you bring your phone to China, a regular phone.
Yeah, well, they just take everything off your phone and they implant software there. And this visa-free travel, Carney should remind the Canadian people that China took 2 Canadians as hostages in December 2018. The 2 Michaels, and they held them for 1,019 days because Beijing was pissed with Ottawa. They also gave a death sentence to another Canadian because they were angry at the Canadians. So these are hostages that China has taken, and Carney can't really protect Canadians in China, and he has to understand that as well.
Gordon, I'm going to say this. We're going to check back in a year. We'll see how the U.S. economy is doing, and then we'll see how the Canadian economy is doing. Okay.
Oh, we don't even have to check in a year. We already know. I mean, the Canadian economy is dead last on the G7, and I think it's dead last on the G20, and I think it's second to last in the OECD, which I think are 36 countries. I think the only one that did worse, I think, was Luxembourg, that tiny little state, nation state out in Central Europe. Canada is dead last, and our inflation is out of control, especially when it comes to food. Like, there are over 2 million Canadians visiting food banks every single month in order to survive. It's unbelievable what's happening in this country. Let me just get to another super chat here from Teresa McCleary. Question: do you think that these things Smith just listed would not help Alberta separating a bit easier? I think they would. I think they would, they absolutely help. Like, I am thankful that she's finally addressing the elephant in the room, which is that one of the biggest issues that this country's having, and Alberta is no exception, as being unfortunately a part of Canada still, is immigration. The levels are just too high, and the quality of the immigrant that is coming in today, not all immigrants are the same. Pardon me, people can't accuse me of being a bigot for saying that. It's just reality. Not all immigrants are the same. You have the example of an immigrant who comes in and speaks the language, works hard, has a profession, some sort of certificate that is useful, comes in, doesn't take any benefits, doesn't use your social programs. Then you have an immigrant who does the complete opposite, doesn't speak the language, doesn't care to learn the language. All they do is take. They don't adapt to the local culture. They don't have a job. Like, how are you compare this to as a country? A country is like a company. You can't run a company with bad employees or with bad clients and hope that it won't go bankrupt. And it's the same with countries. The citizens and immigrants of new immigrants to a country have to contribute. They have to bring something to the population. They have to bring something that the country wouldn't have if they didn't bring that person in, right? Like, you have to bring some sort of contribution. You can't come in to take. Of course, there's, what's the word, humanitarian cases, right? Like, you have children, right, and women that are being persecuted somewhere. But even that got out of control because a lot of people have been using the refugee program to their advantage. They come here as students, and when they don't even go to school and they're found to be working, and Rebel News has done amazing work on this, revealing the shenanigans that are happening with our immigration system. You got so-called students that come in, and they come in for work. That's what they do. They go to work. They never show up in school. And when they're finally found and they're like, hey, we're going to remove you, they're like, I want to claim asylum because if I go back home, I'm going to, I'm going to die or something. And it's like, didn't you come here as a student? And as a student, you come here to then leave. Once you get your education, then you leave. You're not, student is not a permanent resident. You didn't apply for permanent residency. You applied to become a student, So there's a lot of that going on. Like, of course, there's Ukrainian people, for example, people from Haiti, where their country's a disaster and things like that, or people from Venezuela, for example, where there was a horrible dictatorship there. Anything like that, obviously, right? Like, you got a North Korean who escaped, and if they make their way to Canada somehow, yeah, let them here. Don't send them back to North Korea, because you know what's going to happen to them. That's a bona fide real refugee right there, right? You got people that they're not escaping anything. They're not running away from anyone. They just know that the system is flawed, and they're taking advantage of it. Sorry, I went off on a tangent there, on a rant. I'm saying all of that to say this. I think those are all important things that she's doing, and they definitely make Alberta more protected from the damage that Canada is doing to itself. And they definitely help Alberta become more sovereign and more independent from Canada. But I believe she could do more. I believe she could do it faster, more drastically. But it's a step on the right direction. So I will think glass half full. That's the approach I'll take for this right here. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, and thank you everybody for being here and commenting. I appreciate you guys. I still got some more, so please don't leave. Let me show you guys here a little clip from President Trump. He put this. I believe this is from today. Let me double check. This tweet is from today. Is it? Yeah, February 19th. So here's a clip from President Trump. President Trump is getting really frustrated with Mark Carney. When Mark Carney won, President Trump said, you know what? Yeah, we could probably get along. I mean, Trump is a businessman. Carney's a banker. We'll figure it out, I guess. But Trump, I think, is losing patience. I think he's like this close to just going nuclear on Canada and just canceling CUSMA, USMCA altogether, which is NAFTA 2.0, the North American Free Trade Agreement. He's already threatened it, and he hasn't walked it back. And that would be the end of Canada. That's where, not a recession, we're talking a depression, economically speaking. 76% of Canadian exports go south. Canada needs the United States far more than the United States need Canada. It's simple numbers and simple economics. You're talking about a $31 trillion economy versus a 2.5, I believe, $trillion economy, smaller than Texas. One state. Though a big state, got to remember Texas, big state, but still one state, right? This is what President Trump had to say today in regards to Mark Carney. Have a listen.
And not only China, other countries too. People from other countries like Canada and others, they sue us. Canada has ripped us off for years. Not anymore, they're not.
Not anymore, they're not.
And I'm waiting for a decision from the Supreme Court. Can you imagine? We have to wait. And not only China, other countries too.
And it is true that Canada has ripped the United States. Like they've taken advantage of the United States. Canada has. It's not all Canadians who view it that way. Many Canadians are supportive of the United States and are pro-American. But as an institution, the government of Canada has taken advantage of the United States for far too long. it's true that the United States needs Canada, but Canada needs the United States far more. A big example of the Canada taking advantage of the United States is freeloading on defense. Canada takes advantage of the fact that geographically we happen to be not only above, like right north of the United States, but right next to Alaska. And if any foreign power attacks Canada, of course, the United States is not going to allow that to happen. And the Canadian government knows that. So they've freeloaded, they've mooched off of the American military, which happens to be the most powerful military in the world. So most of Canada go like, oh, you know, we're not worried. If China decides to attack us, we got the Americans right there. And it's not just an assumption, it's an operational reality. When there was that balloon that flew all over Canada and then in the US, it was the US under Joe Biden, of course, sleepy Joe Biden, right? Sleepy Joe. But still, it was the United States that had to take that balloon down because the Air Force is non-existent. And then the other day, there was a Cessna, a little crop duster airplane flying above Vancouver, just north of Washington State. And the United States had to scramble a couple of fighter jets to escort this guy off of critical airspace. Because the Canadian Air Force couldn't do it. Literally, you had military fly north from Seattle, U.S. military, NORAD, obviously part of NORAD. And NORAD is mostly America. Like, what does Canada contribute to NORAD? At least today's Canada. Canada used to punch above its weight in the past. Canada used to be an amazing country in the past. But decades of decay and neglect of our military, there's no pride, they're understaffed, underpaid, overworked. And so that's one example. Another example I'm going to give you quickly is agriculturally. Like, Canada has full access, 100% access to exporting to the United States. So much so that 76% of our exports go south of the border. The United States, they can export here too. There's a free trade, right? There are certain little things where Canada is super protectionist. The biggest culprit is something that we call supply management, which is this Marxist practice of managing supply of like milk and poultry and eggs to keep the prices high, to protect a very well-connected group of farmers, very well-connected. I'm not talking your regular mom and pop farmer, in the small town. No, I'm talking corporate farmers, industrial level farmers, mostly centered in Quebec, of course, in Quebec, right? And they lobby every single Canadian government to maintain the level of protectionism. And that's been an irritant. That's pissed off President Trump for years. And he's coming for it this time. And that's why we don't have a free trade agreement, because Canada will die on that hill. They will protect Quebec to the end. And what happens with supply management? Well, Canada imposes limits on the amount of milk that we can import from Iowa and cheese and stuff like that from Wisconsin. So Wisconsin farmers are playing an unfair battle because Canadian farmers can totally send no limits to the amount of exports that they can send down south, but they cannot send, like, there's a quota, there's a limit. And all that does is protect a very well-connected group of farmers. Canadians suffer from higher prices because there's no real competition. We don't have real competition, so we pay higher prices, right? Like a gallon of milk, I was just in Montana, a gallon of milk down there, last I saw, was like, what, $4.50? No, or less, something like that, $4.20. Up here, it's like $7 on average. It's like $6-7. They're like, oh, the dollar's weaker. Yeah, that's another story too. Our dollar's weaker. But still, even if you convert the dollar, we're still paying a lot more than the Americans are for eggs, for milk, for cheese, and many other things. Okay, let's see. What else do we have here? So here's what's happening in Canada too. The Trump derangement syndrome is institutionalized. Not only is it at the government level, I mean, all Canadian politicians seem to have Trump derangement syndrome. So much so that a conservative politician went south to talk to the Trump administration. He's friends with J.D. Vance, is an MP from Ontario, and he went to talk to the Trump administration, and they wanted to crucify this guy now because he said the truth. He said, you know what, Canadians are having a hissy fit, an anti-American hissy fit, and we need to stop that because it's hurting us economically. And they've been attacking him since then. And here's what one of Canada's mainstream media newspapers had to say today. This is from today, February 19th. This is what they had to say in the Globe and Mail. Opinion: what do you do when you're living next door to a fascist state? This is the news that Canadians are exposed to on a daily basis. These are the news that Canadians are exposed to daily. You have mainstream media newspaper, the Globe and Mail telling Canadians that we live next to a fascist state, to a Nazi state or whatever. And that's what they're being fed. That's the information that they're being fed on a daily basis here. Let's take some other super chats here. From James Holiday. Thanks for being a channel member, man, and thank you for the super chat. Galatians 5, chapter 5, verse 1. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. Amen to that, my brother. Amen to that. I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you. Amen. Albertan 2026 with the $20 super chat. Thank you. Thank you very much. Saturday, Edmonton Convoy is leaving Bonnie Doon Mall at 11 a.m. for Red Deer. Calgary Convoy is leaving Deerfoot City at 11:30 a.m. They meet at Red Deer's Peters Drive-In at 1 p.m. and will roll through Red Deer all afternoon. This is a convoy. I encourage every single Albertan watching this in the Edmonton, Red Deer, and Calgary area and surrounding areas, anyone who can make it, please be there. I am going to try to be there. I am going to try. I can't guarantee it. I can't guarantee it, unfortunately. I do have some commitments, but I might just manage to make it. If I do, I want to vlog it. I want to record everything so that those of you who can't make it, those of you who are not in Alberta, can watch it. I definitely want to document. It's so inspiring. I've seen the footage of the one that they did. I think it departed Red Deer and it went to Sylvan Lake, and it was beautiful to see. By the way, those of you, my email is pjthebelt@gmail.com, pjthebelt@gmail.com. If you have any footage or any pictures or anything you want shared on the channel, I already do that on my post section. I post pictures of Alberta Patriots. Canvassers send me pictures to share to inspire people and remind them to sign the petition, which, by the way, if you haven't signed it, please go to stayfreealberta.com, and find where you can sign a location nearby. But if you have footage or anything and you want to share it on the channel, go ahead and send. If you got pictures, send it to my email and I will share them on the channel. Thanks again, Albertan. Those of you who can, definitely go to the convoy. We have to make a statement. We have to show that we are still motivated and enthused and we're excited and we're getting it done. And we also got to remind those Albertans who may believe that they're alone in wanting independence, that they're not alone, that there's many of us who believe our province would be much better off as an independent nation. So let's get out there and support the convoy. Okay, let's see. So here is, okay, let me go like this. This is the thing that really, like, I really can't get over the fact that we are hiring foreign soldiers. I don't know of any other country hiring foreigners, people that haven't lived in the country, that have no stake in the game, to be like soldiers. to like provide defense for the country. But this is the report right here from Zero Hedge. Canada announces plan to recruit foreign soldiers for fast-track immigration. This goes more into the details, into the nitty-gritty, this report right here. It's a common theme throughout history. When governments go authoritarian, they often hire foreign soldiers in order to better control their respective populations. That is so true. Or wage war on their neighbors. The strategy is being implemented across Europe currently, with many nations taking in millions of third world migrants from Muslim nations and using targeted marketing to recruit them as police and military. Not all mass immigration is about rigging elections in favor of socialists. It's sometimes about subjugation using people who have no loyalty to the native population. Exactly. That is such an important point. These are people who have no skin in the game. They don't care. They haven't adapted to the culture. They don't care for the culture. They're not interested in protecting the customs and the people. They don't have a kinship with the people of that country. So it's easier to subjugate the population, to use them as tools to subjugate the population. Canada appears to be the latest progressive regime to introduce the integration of foreign military professionals into their ranks. The decision is part of the country's new express entry program for migrants with skills that the government has deemed essential to the economy and to Canada's security. Globalist Prime Minister Mark Carney asserts that Canada will tighten the open immigration policies of the Trudeau administration, but it will increase opportunities for foreign professionals to easily obtain entry and citizenship. Two birds with one stone. You're importing voters and you're importing people that'll help you create the regime that you're trying to put together here. Canada's housing market has been crushed by inflation and a supply drought caused by a flood of 3 million migrants, legal and illegal, over the past 5 years alone. 3 million people in 5 years. Holy cow. In a country with a population similar to the state of California and with less housing, the migrant influx has been a disaster. Around 23% of Canada is foreign born. Wow, a quarter nearly. Around 15% are migrants from third world countries. The majority of these new citizens are low skill and act as a drain on the nation's social welfare apparatus. This is exactly what I was telling you guys about what I was telling you guys about 2 minutes ago. Excuse me. The announcement of tighter controls on immigration will probably come as a welcome surprise to most of the Canadian citizenry if it actually happens, but the introduction of foreign assets into the Canadian military is a worrying sign. Under Canada's new 2026 express entry category based selection announced by Immigration Minister Lena, I can't pronounce her name, on February 18th, 2026, a dedicated category exists for skilled military recruits, also referred to as highly skilled foreign military applicants of foreign skilled military. Okay, I got confused there. This targets highly skilled foreign military personnel, specifically recruited by the Canadian Armed Forces for key roles. And then the article continues. If you guys want to read the entire article, you're welcome to do so at zerohedge.com. But this is the people that broke the news and provided the details in regards to this right here. Yeah, it's just, you can't make this stuff up with Canada, man. I haven't heard of any other country besides Canada that is announcing, because at least Europe, they don't announce it. They don't really tell you about it. They're just importing them and then putting the propaganda up and then hiring them. They're doing it in the quiet. But the government of Canada respects the population so little that they just announce these things. It's like, yeah, that's what we're doing. We're going to start hiring. Like, they didn't put it to a vote. They didn't run it by Canadians to see if there's support for it. No. We're doing it. We're ramming it through. There's nothing you can do. Let's get to some super chats here. What's my email here? I'll just put it. I'll put it down here. I'll type it. It's pjthebelt@gmail.com. I actually have it on my YouTube channel. I got many of you who already email me. pjthebelt@gmail.com. Yeah, if you want to send me an email, if you want to share a picture, if you want to, share any footage, if you have any information that you'd like me to talk about, obviously considering that I can't talk about every single thing, but yeah, if you have any information or any pictures or anything, send them my way. I would appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, Carnage Carney. I appreciate you, man. Nova West. Rosemary saying Alberta liking liberals, even she left. Yeah, I put out a tweet about that. This lady, again, you can't make this stuff up. Canada's like a comedy, like a tragic comedy. This CBC News reporter, one of the main ones, her name is Rosemary Barton. She's as partisan as one can possibly be, and she was caught on a hot mic moment saying that everything they say is made up. Literally, let me see if I can find the tweet. I retweeted it here. Okay, here I found it. Hold on. They put it on the screen here for you guys. Literally, you just can't make this stuff up, guys. This is unbelievable. This is obviously a South Park version of her. Let me show you guys a real picture of what she looks like. You guys got to suffer with me. You guys have to suffer with me, okay? Rosemary Barton. This creature right here. This creature. That's who that is. She's on nightly news, and she was talking about Albertans that support Mark Carney and saying how, let me actually find the footage for you guys. Just give me a moment here. Let me find the footage. Hold on. Let me find it here. Just bear with me, guys. This is live, but let me find this footage. Rosemary Barton, hot mic moment. Let's see if we can find it on the Twitter. Okay, there we are. That was quick. Awesome. Okay, so let's watch the clip. She's again from the CBC, Canada's propaganda machine, and she was talking about Albertans apparently supporting Mark Carney and all that. And then she said what she said. Have a listen.
Comes to be elected again, but there's also, the reality that some people in Alberta are kind of warming up to the Prime Minister because he has taken markedly different positions on issues that matter to them, whether it be energy development or climate change measures that he's backed off on. So maybe Mr. Genereux feels like his riding is starting to move in that direction as well.
Rosie, thank you. The CBC's chief political correspondent, Rosemary Barton, live in Ottawa.
Listen.
Minister of Industry, Melanie Joly, is speaking to reporters in Montreal. Let's listen.
Just because it's all made up anyway. Comes to be elected.
Do you guys hear that part?
Just because it's all made up anyway.
She laughs maniacally. And then she says, it's because it's all made up anyways. Like, she laughs like a crazy person. And she says, it's because it's all made up. These people have no soul. They're soulless. They know what they do. They know that they brainwash the population. They know that they costed the Conservatives an election by being a tool in the brainwashing of a lot of Canadians, especially the older population. The boomers. Not all boomers are liberals, but oh boy, they were the majority who voted for the liberals. It wasn't all of them, but it was a big chunk of boomers who came out, elbows up and stuff. And it was because of the Trump derangement syndrome, because of people like this, who all they do is they lie for a living. They lie to Canadians. And I reposted and I said, I love how she laughed maniacally as she said it. It's all just made up. It's all just made up, and they know it. But what they also know is that a lot of people believe them, because those boomers, those people who still trust the CBC used to be trustworthy. You go maybe 20 years back, CBC used to be mostly impartial and reported the facts mostly. If you go 15, 20 years ago, but since the Trudeau era, when they started paying them and using them as a tool for the Liberal Party, they've become literally just a propaganda machine in favor of the Liberals. So a lot of boomers don't realize, because I've had this conversation with my in-laws even, that the CBC's today is not the CBC from 20, 30 years ago. They're not trustworthy. They have no integrity. They're in there to peddle lies for the Liberals. That's what they're in there for. And yeah, that's Canada for you. That's what's going on out here. Super chat from Carnage Carney. Thank you. Our own government needs to hire mercenaries to force us to comply to communism. It's not new, my friend. It's like what was happening in Venezuela. Who do you think Maduro's guard was? You think they were Venezuelan? Nope. Maduro's private guard, he flew in and he hired them from Cuba. They were Cuban mercenaries. That's what dictators do. When they don't trust their own people, they start hiring from other countries. And it's also, like that report said, when you have people that have no connection to the local population, it is easier for them to trample on their rights and to be a tool for a dictator in the regime, right? So it's no coincidence, honestly. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. If you could do me a favor before you leave, please hit the like button. YouTube sometimes decides to take videos down and stuff like that. But if this video does stay up and you want other people seeing it who may benefit from seeing this this report and seeing the topics that we talked about here, hitting the like button lets YouTube know that it's a good video, that you enjoyed it, and that other people may enjoy it as well. As always, if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It's completely free and it helps our channel grow. I hope to see you guys soon again. Stay warm, those of you in cold Alberta, and those of you around the world. I appreciate you. Have a great night. It's been PJ. See you in the next one.